Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Twinsburg regular council meeting for December 13th, 2022 to order. The time is 7:31 p.m. We're at the Twinsburg Government Center Council Chambers. Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Mr. Post?
Here.
Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mrs. Labby? Here. Mr. Fury?
Here.
All right, at this time, Mr. Fury is going to lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of the community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect all of our residents and our businesses and our dedicated city employees. Bless those away from us, serving and protecting our country. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Fury. Moving along, approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting on December 6th, 2022. Has everybody had a chance to review the meeting minutes from our last meeting?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Mr. Bellin made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Shannon, please call the roll. Any further discussion? All right, Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
All right, approval of the minutes passes 6-0. Awards and presentations. Do we have any awards or presentations this evening?
There are none.
All right.
Yeah, you got one.
I think we have one. This is not my fault. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
would you do the honors, please?
Mrs. Collins.
I don't think she does.
Turn the mic around.
She really does not like this. It's my honor to do so. I went to, the other day at the Chamber of Commerce, Shannon was awarded the Citizen of the Year Award. And so this is the proclamation that we prepared and that was read there for her, and council was asked that we do it again tonight so the whole city could see who the Citizen of the Year Award goes to. And everybody's here in City Hall is so proud that she works here and she works with us and she belongs to the city of Twinsburg. So here goes. Glasses. Yes, I do. Okay, it's a proclamation that says, whereas the administration, council, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio, extend a sincere congratulations to Shannon Collins in celebration of her deserving award as the Twinsburg Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year. Whereas Shannon Collins was born and raised in Twinsburg, Ohio, is married and has 3 children, and is the clerk of council for the city of Twinsburg. And whereas Shannon began her work for the city with an appointment to the Twinsburg Park and Recreation Advisory Council as a teenager. That was not too long ago. You're right. She served 4 years as the co-president of the Rotary Club of Twinsburg and has been active with Twinsburg Athletic Boosters, supports all city employees, and is on the board of directors for the J.B. Strong Foundation. And whereas being one of the principal planners of the Cost of Freedom exhibit in 2015, one of Shannon's crowning achievements brought the Traveling Veterans Memorial wall and numerous other military and first responders displays. And whereas Shannon's patriotism extends to her volunteer work with helping the local veterans of Twinsburg, VFW Post 4929, and expanding the Rotary's Parade of Flags program. She initiated the Salute to Veterans and First Responders Nights at Twinsburg High School in 2021 and 2022. Whereas Shannon was half of a 2-person team that repainted and outfitted the fire hydrant in memory of Josh McTerry. She remains an integral part of Twinsburg Fire Department annual Santa gift run, delivering nearly 450 gifts to Twinsburg homes, and is the head elf in charge. And whereas Shannon helps with the fire department's annual golf outing, helped with the department's 100th anniversary banquet, and organized an efficient delivery system for the Twin States Welcome Hot Dog Roast, where over 2,500 meals are distributed. Whereas now therefore be it proclaimed that on behalf of the City Council and the Mayor, we would like to personally congratulate Shannon Collins for her valuable contribution to the City of Twinsburg and publicly recognize and acknowledge the achievements and contributions, and we extend our heartfelt appreciation to Shannon Collins. In witness thereof, we do hereby affix our signatures on the December 26, 2022. So Shannon, there's your proclamation. I've known Shannon for a long time, being serving on the City Council, but now that I'm here day in and day out as the mayor, Shannon, nothing happens in this building that Shannon isn't a part of or that Shannon doesn't know. Truthfully, I call her the little mayor because she's always something new to do. So, she does a great job, and I know she does a great job for City Council. She does a great job for us. She does it even for the mayor's office. So we appreciate you. Thank you, and just keep up the good work. We appreciate everything that you do. Would you like to say anything?
Not tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Scafidi. Congratulations, Mrs. Collins.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Absolutely. Audience participation. Do we have any audience participation this evening?
There is none.
All right. That moves us on to council communication.
Hold on, I guess there is one.
Oh,
We could go now, second interview first.
I'm sorry.
We come now, second interview first.
I'll defer to the President Council.
sure. We have some folks that want to speak on the electric vehicle chargers. If you just come on up, name and address. We'll give you a few minutes here at the microphone.
Thank you.
Just turn the microphone.
Yeah, spin it around for you for the YouTubers at home.
Hi, my name is Eric Gitterman. I'm with 10178 Dayflower.
Thank you, sir.
Pull the microphone closer to your mouth so that they can pick you up. Yeah.
Good.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm a local EV owner and advocate. I'm also an administrator of a local group called Drive Electric Northeast Ohio, which is an affiliate of Clean Fuels Ohio, and we're just promoting electric driving in the state of Ohio. And I just want to talk about the EV charging stations. I received an email today from Rebecca about the fact that you're going to be discontinuing the use of the EV charging stations in the city. And I just wanted to express my concern about that, and I have a few questions that I can ask and just throw out some ideas. I just put some together kind of last minute. We just found out about this today. I'm kind of interested in the audit that happened in the end of the year about the usage for the charging stations, who was using it, or what it cost, what your electric usage was, how many people used it. So I'm going to probably reach out to Rebecca to try to get that audit information if that's possible. And I was wondering if there's a way to continue to use it, find other money in the city to potentially pay for the maintenance costs through these organizations like Reuse and Shell Recharge, but potentially changing up how the city was paying for that equipment. Right now, I know for 4 years we've been essentially giving away free electricity, and there's probably other options to charge a small fee. So the overall cost is just like the maintenance cost, and then you charge electricity for the user, so you can essentially lower your cost of doing that. And I also want to talk about the locations that they've chosen. So the locations that they've chosen over the last 4 years were at some non-conducive areas where people don't necessarily charge. I just wanted to bring some light to the discussion about how real EV owners charge every day and what we do. Most of us charge at home, and the ones that don't charge at home look for destination charging, places that they're going to charge. And coming to a city hall is generally not the place people are coming to charge. So the utilization for a charging station like that is going to be pretty low. So the expectation shouldn't be that you're going to get a lot of users out of that location. We'd love to see charging stations at at shopping centers, places where people, go to spend more time. I understand that the way the grant had worked, that the charging station need to be put on city property. So I understand that limited you tremendously to where the charging stations had to go. But we've seen a lot of charging stations that are being put at other municipalities around the city. Because in this group, Drive Electric Northeast Ohio, there's 650 members locally, so we chat a lot about what's going on. And at these other charging stations that are at other cities, the utilization level is also pretty low because, again, people aren't there. So if we could, rethink the idea or respin it maybe a different way and put them at different locations or promote other businesses to help get those charging stations around, that would really help. What else do I have to say? I think that is it right now. I just wanted to make a statement to say that we're out there.
Do that after it's done.
We appreciate the fact that the city is providing for charging for EV users, whether you're paying for it or we're paying for it. We don't really care necessarily too much about a little bit of cost. We won't burden ourselves with a great deal of cost. We'll take a small cost because at the end of the day, we need a place to charge.
Sure.
So we'll use those charging stations when we can. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time. Anyone have any, Mr. Post, did you have a comment or?
Can I just ask one quick question?
Yes.
So, in your experience, did you have a lot of, is it okay to ask a question at this time?
Fine.
Since you have a lot more experience, it sounds like, my question is, you said that most of the EV charging stations are put at, sounds like more private shopping centers, et cetera. Do you find that it's the owner of the shopping plazas that normally put those in? Like the one in Macedonia, for example, is it the owner of the plaza who puts that in?
So there's a charging station in Macedonia that's actually run by Tesla, and Tesla has rented out space in that shopping center to do so.
Okay.
But generally, and those are fast charging stations, which you did not have in the city of Twinsburg yet. What we call slow level 2 charging, which takes hours to recoup a formidable amount of energy. And those are generally done by business owners, or in this case, the cities that are getting money from NOPEC or grant money. But those generally are at the cities and put in by the cities.
Okay. Mayor, did you have something you wanted to add?
I do. I just want to add, Mr. Goodman, I do have some of the figures here with me, so I'll go over them briefly. That, first of all, we got the charging stations through grants. That was originally was a pilot program, and I think she had that in her letter as well.
Yeah.
And so they're slow at this point. I don't know if you've ever used ours, but from what I understand, it's like 8 to 10 hours to charge. And some of those charging stations are much quicker. And they're telling us it's because our charging stations are old. They're outdated, and they're in need of quite a bit of repair. So that's what prompted us to look into, the situation that we're into right now, to remove them. The cost, the conduit, let me see, I wrote down a few things here. So when they do remove them, we're going to cap the conduit for future use. So we're not looking to get rid of them totally. We're looking to get rid of these in the program right now.
Okay.
They're obsolete, and we looked at even putting in new SIM cards to try to update them. There's like $1,200 per SIM card, and we've got 8 stations. The real costs are, though, when we originally got those, I could tell you what the cost for this year is going to be. The projected cost is between $12,000 and $14,000. Okay, and you mentioned the usage, and I've got some on. We had 778 charges from basically the same users, and so 73% of the people that are using them are the same 9 users. So we've got 9 people using these 8 chargers, basically, and at the cost to the city of $14,000 per year annually. And that doesn't include all the maintenance on them, our electrician working on them, any parts that we've had to buy, and it's getting more difficult to buy the parts for these. She even looked at going to a different supplier to try to help this situation. So that's really, we've come up with nothing. I know some areas or other cities, they have a program, and I believe the township is having some installed there, Twinsburg Township, but they're being put in by a private company, and I think you mentioned Macedonia. Tesla put
So
those in?
Tesla has superchargers master.
Yeah.
They've been there for
And
years.
they charge
There's
pretty
also
quick.
a supercharger right here in Twinsburg at the Sheets.
At Sheets, right, right. So
that's
we do
done
have
by-
some private ones in the
Right, but
community.
those are for, Tesla vehicles only. They're fast charging designed for road trip charging. So if someone who's driving from Cleveland to New York, they want to drive and stop halfway and a few times and charge. The charging stations that you put are generally slow. They're designed for people that are parking and waiting and doing something. So again, it's one point of at a city hall or a city pool, people aren't there for hours generally doing things. Those are generally not good locations. I'll give you an example of another city that's actually putting charging in. Sagamore Hills has put in charging at Sagamore Hills Park. They are paid chargers that I walk up to and I scan a card and I pay a per kilowatt hour fee. So the city does not have to pay that cost of charging, they just have to pay maintenance costs of the device. But unfortunately, they put it at a city park where utilization is going to be next to zero. So in 3 years from now, they're going to be the exact same situation you guys are in because there wasn't enough planning up front to say, what's going to be the use case? How are we going to get people to use these? Let's put them in locations that are more readily available. So I'd definitely be interested in talking to Rebecca.
Well, that's what I was going to suggest.
And be involved with the next step that you guys are taking. And I know that my friend Brandon has many things to say about it as well. I'll have him speak next.
We're not looking to just get rid of them.
That's
We're
good.
getting rid of these
Okay.
right now, but she is going out there and she's actively seeking grants to start the program again, or a program with much more newer and updated equipment. And also, just to mention one thing, she did look at charging for the usage there, and the price that we would have had to charge would have been astronomical to cover our costs. So they would have been non-used, and we do have one in a public area. We have one down in the square, and typically there's somebody down there that'll plug in the morning and they stay there all day, so nobody else can use it anyway, Monday through Friday.
While I was around that subject, I have a quick question about law. Is there a way to put a law in place that says you cannot park at a charging station if you're not charging your car?
Right, we're looking into that as well. So we're going to revamp the program. That's why I said when they do remove those, we're not taking out the power and everything. We're going to cap that.
Good.
All those the conduit there, so nobody gets hurt on it. But it's going to remain there. So when we do find something else and we get grants for this, we'll revisit it and start the program. But if you'd like to come in anytime, call us. And Rebecca and I'd be happy to sit down and we'll talk with you and tell you. She can tell you in more detail because she's working on it daily. And then you can, share your ideas as well.
Well, I appreciate your future thinking. And again, the point of this is just to bring to your attention that there's a lot of users out there and owners, and we're very interested in being able to charge at locations like Twinsburg.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, they were provided with Rebecca's cut sheet from her last presentation between meetings. I provided Mr.
Did you give it to him?
and-
Okay, yeah. And the letters went out today, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you got them today.
Did you have anything you wanted to add, sir? Yeah, in the interest of brevity, we've got a lot of legislation this evening.
Oh yeah, I'll make it very quick.
Thank you.
So my name is Brandon Boggs. I'm a former resident of Twinsburg. My parents still live here, but I live in Cleveland Heights now. But I've been working in the electric vehicle industry for almost 7 years now, and I'm the EV program manager for the software company called ChargeWay. So I see the ins and out of this industry specifically for charging stations, specifically Shell Recharge, and some of the issues that they face all across the country, as well as Canada. And I have many connections throughout this industry, and I would love to work with you guys free of charge to help provide any advice, any connections, utilize my network to make sure that the next program works better for you guys. I've been in contact with Rebecca throughout today since I just found out about this, but more than happy to help.
We'd welcome your input, really. Make
Absolutely.
sure, keep in touch with her, and I'll talk with her tomorrow. We'll get you in here.
Okay.
Maybe you guys can come together.
Okay.
And we'll get this thing settled.
Sounds good.
Okay? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Moving on. Thank you, gentlemen, both, for your time this evening. Council Communication and Committee Reports. Mr. Bellin, let's just start with you. We'll work our way right across the dais here.
Good evening, thank you. The annual Santa Run was on Sunday. I simply do not have enough words of praise for everybody involved in that event. It is an amazing event. Special thanks to the head elf, Mrs. Collins, and Assistant Chief Basso. for all the planning that goes into that. It truly is an amazing event. Thank you. I attended this evening's Finance Committee meeting. I will allow Mr. Fury to report on that as he was elected the Finance Chair, and none of my other committees have met since our last meeting. Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballin. Mrs. Walker, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I did attend the finance meeting today, and my other committees won't be meeting until next year. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. I will, like I said, we'll just keep it right in a row here this evening. I attended finance. We elected Mr. Fury the chairman of that meeting, so I'll let him report on that. None of my committees have met since our last meeting here, which was a week ago today. Want to echo Mr. Ballin's sentiments that the Santa Run is truly an awesome event. Just for clarification, is Shannon actually the head elf and Steve the chief elf? I just want to make sure I don't.
That's correct.
Is that how it is? Okay.
I thought she was Mrs. Santa Claus.
I just want to make sure that we're not stepping on any toes. The fire department, the head elf, chief elf. All right. And that concludes my report. Thank you for all that. Every that's just a wonderful thing. So thank you to you and the fire department as well, Shannon. Mr. Fury.
Good evening. The Finance Committee met earlier this evening, primarily to review and make a recommendation to Council to pass the 2023 budget. The budget that we're putting in is currently a temporary budget, and it's on an emergency so that it can be filed with the county by the 31st of this month. Our final budget, the permanent budget, thank you, is due on March 31st. So this will give us time to see how we close certain counts, adjust things if necessary. The amount of the budget, and when you're doing municipal financing, we count revenue as well as expense. The budget is actually $45.98 million. That's an increase of roughly 4.48 over last year. We have increased employee costs, of course, with the additional raises that we offer, as well as over $5 million of capital improvement. So things that cost over $5,000 that last 5 years. Dorridge is probably the largest. The Dorridge Road Sewer Water Project, which is one of the last major pieces of getting rid of the transite pipe in Ward 1, is probably the most expensive item on this year's list. So that passed unanimously. Our next meeting will be January 24th, 2023. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fury. Mr. Post.
Thank you very much. I did attend the finance meeting as well that Mr. Fury just spoke about. I'm looking forward to my new appointments for next year. I'm especially excited about planning. I think I'm going to learn a lot there. I want to thank everybody on the Environmental Commission for last year. I learned a whole heck of a lot, especially from Chuck Bonacci. I've learned a ton from the Environmental Commission, and I really, really enjoyed working on that commission. It's amazing how just a little bit goes a long way. Here it is. No more water bottles. So, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to my next year with my new commissions. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Post. Mrs. Levy.
Thank you. The Jedi Council did meet yesterday, but we, all the council members who were on as representatives to that committee, were in interviews last night, so we can report on that at the beginning of the year. I am new to the ARB commission. Is it a commission or a committee? Committee. That will meet this coming Thursday, the 15th, 6 o'clock in council chambers, and looking forward to that for me, and that's all for tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Levy. Mayor Scafidi, good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Okay, what I have on my report, I'll be brief. I did attend this week. I attended one ribbon cutting, and it's called the USA Ninja Challenge. And it's in the building behind PNC Bank that used to house Scorchers Bar and Grill. And I'll tell you what, if you go in there, you've got to go see this place. It's awesome. And it reminds me of the American Ninja Challenge that's on TV. Okay. And this is for youth. It's all for youth, ages 7 to 13. But he's also bringing in some 5-year-olds. And they've got all kind of challenges that you can go through in this facility. And it's very colorful, and I could see how kids love it. And since he's opened up there, he's had a book schedule. It's been really a wild ride for them. He's got a young staff, that very energetic staff. The one fellow couldn't even stand still. When we were taking the pictures, he was all over the place, and so they got a great staff. But what they do there is they have people that, it's like a gym basically for kids, and they come in there and they go through the whole set of all of the exercises that they have. They've got the bars overhead, they've got the rock wall, they've got all kind of things. But they also rent it out for parties, birthday parties, and so on. And so it's really a nice place to be. And they also have school classes come in there too. Any of the teachers want to bring a class in for a day, they can come in there. And so if you get a chance to stop in there, I'm sure you'd love to see anybody. He loves to show the place off and talk about what he's doing there. So it's a really nice place, and just want to welcome them to Twinsburg. One other thing I wanted to mention, the unlit Christmas tree that's outside in front of City Hall. I received an email from some advocates for the folks in the Ukraine, okay, that are supporting them, and they wanted cities to show their support, if we would, and to put up a tree that's unlit. So we do have a Christmas tree out there that's unlit. It's been decorated, but it's unlit in support of the Ukrainian people there, that in their country they can't, they're installing Christmas trees, and they're decorating them, but because their power grid was destroyed and everything else, they're not able to light their trees. And so they asked us in support of those folks, and we have that tree out there, and there's a little sign next to it that explains what it's all about. And actually the guys in the service department were kind enough to go ahead and make a Ukrainian flag that's out there as well, so people understand what we're doing out there. So in support of the Ukrainian people, we wish them the best, of course, and always especially in the holiday season. One thing that I want to mention, in the absence of a Ward 1 council person, the BZA will be meeting on December 21st, and I believe our new councilman will be able to sit in. No, he won't be sworn in yet, right? Okay, you guys aren't doing that. Anyway, there is a BZA meeting on the 21st at 6:30 right here in City Hall. That's it. Oh, you mentioned the Santa run. Yeah, I was there too. What a great time that was. All the people and everybody that puts that together, our head elf, of course, our head chief elf, and everybody else that is involved. I mean, all the volunteers, they do a great job, and it's really a little hectic in the morning before they go out. And it was hectic the day before. I had the opportunity to help load some of the bags with our head elf, and she recruited me out there. So there's a lot of work that goes into that, but I think it's well worth it, because I know just seeing the kids in my neighborhood when they came down, they really, really enjoyed it. So thank you to everybody for all your help, and Chief, all your department, and all the work that they do. And other than that, that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I do believe that the date of the Santa run also coincided with your birthday, if I'm correct, right? Happy belated birthday,
Well,
sir.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Okay.
it.
All right. I actually thought all those people just got together to celebrate your birthday.
Well, actually, they sang to me now. For all the elves and everybody sang outside. So it was quite a morning.
It was glorious.
Yeah.
It really was glorious. Do we have any department heads this
We do.
morning?
Yeah, Chief Morgan.
Chief, good evening.
Good evening, Council. For the month of December, the Fire Department responded to 296 calls for service. That brings us up to a total of 3,448 for the year. Just as a reminder, last year, for the whole year, we did 3,417. So we are 13% ahead of last year's call volume. We also completed 73 inspections, including annual fire safety inspections, re-inspections, and alarm, sprinkler system, and hood system inspections as well. We also completed 8 fire investigations through the course of the month. Our personnel were involved in 83 different training sessions, totaling almost 300 hours of training, including a couple crews that went over to Macedonia. They hosted the Ohio Fire Academy burn simulator trailer over there, and so we were able to participate in that. We also participated in some personal contact at the Luminosity, participating in the parade and just monitoring the activity there and the fireworks. We did our weather warning test on December the 3rd, and unfortunately only 5 of the 9 sirens in the system operated properly. It's a system that continues to be a problem for us, and as I've mentioned, and it'll be a topic of discussion for the safety committee moving forward, what we want to do with that system and the whole process of emergency notification. Facilities-wise, we continue to have our security system and access control system installed at Station 1. That is a prolonged process because of supply chain issues. On the fleet side, as I mentioned last report, we did have our annual pump tests for all of our primary pumping vehicles completed in November, and then the first part of this December, we had all of the ladder testing done. Those are annual requirements that have to be completed, and I'm glad to say that all vehicles passed all parts of those tests. A couple projects that are in process, continue to be in process, is review of the emergency operations plan for the city. And on Monday, remodeling of the downstairs kitchen at Fire Station 1 commenced, being done by the service department. And I want to take a moment to talk about some equipment changes we're undergoing at the fire department. All of our personnel are outfitted with what we call turnout gear. That's a coat, pants, boots, helmet, gloves, hoods, and we have, over the course of the last year, changed vendors, and we've also taken the opportunity to begin to change colors. So as you see our crews working out there, you'll see some of the guys in the legacy outfits, which are a tan colored turnout gear, and the new gear will be black. And ultimately the black with the reflective material that's put on it is more eye-catching than the reflective on the tan. So that's one of the reasons we have chosen to go that route. The change in vendor ultimately is a result of costs changes. Turnout gear through all vendors went up dramatically over the past year. We've been with one vendor for probably the better part of the last 20 years, but the times have caught up with them. They couldn't give us the deals that they used to, so we were in a position to look at other vendors and still get some quality equipment for our people to wear. And so we have 11 new sets of black gear out of about 80 total in our inventory, as each full-time member has 2 sets. So if one gets soiled, dirty, contaminated while it's being cleaned, they have another set to wear. And then all of our part-timers have an individual set. So I just wanted to inform you on that. If you see those mixed colored crews out there on the street, you'll understand why. And we will be looking at options to try to speed up that change in color, because at this rate, a dozen sets a year for 80 sets, it will take several years to get everyone switched over. But we're going to be looking at some grants and some other funding to see if we can accelerate that process. And I do want to thank everyone for the kind comments about the Santa Run. I want to thank Shannon for all her help, and of course recognize my personnel, Chief Basso and Shelley and Tracy, were just running their legs off. Sorry, I'll be proper. Answering the door for the last week, receiving the gifts, getting them signed in, as well as the on-duty crews between calls and other duties. It was a lot of work, but we're glad to undertake that. It's a double-edged sword. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. And today we were able to deliver 1,800 pounds of donated food as a result of the Santa Run to our community hunger center. So
that's great.
It's good for everybody. So thank you. That's my report for this evening.
Chief, just for clarification,
Yes.
I believe that this is the case in previous years as well. That Santa run is done at literally no cost to the Twinsburg taxpayer, correct? I know
That's
that
correct.
our
We,
fuel is donated.
We secure fuel through the supplier for the city, covers the cost of that, and of course, the personnel operating at the Santa Run for that event are volunteering their time for that.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your report. Anyone else this evening, Mayor?
Mrs. Bucci-Gross.
Mrs. Bucci-Gross, good evening.
Good evening, council. I just have a quick report tonight to tell you the income tax collections throughout 2022. We ended at $24.58 million. That's just our RETA collections. That doesn't include the state of Ohio collections. You'll see those once we close out the year and we talk about the year-end results in January. Last year at this time we were at 22.64. So it was a good year for income tax collections. Now we just have to hang on to it and hope the refunds aren't too bad next year.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. All right. Brings us to legislation. We start out this evening again with ordinance 91, 2022.
An ordinance accepting the lands and improvements dedicated to public use for the Whispering Woods Phase 3 subdivision, accepting the maintenance guarantee and reducing the performance guarantee accordingly, and declaring an emergency.
All right, at the advice of council, we are just going to read this one more time this evening, and then we should be voting on it on the meeting on the 6th.
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Massan. All right, moving along. Ordinance 98, 2022.
The temporary appropriation ordinance for 2023 approved by council from estimates submitted by the mayor, providing for the ordinary expenses and other necessary expenses of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
All right, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 98, 2022 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second. Yield.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
All right, suspension of the three reading rule passes 6-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 98, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
All right, ordinance 98, 2022 passes as an emergency 6-0. Moving along, ordinance 99, 2022.
An ordinance establishing membership fees and rates for the fitness center and water park in the Parks and Recreation Department and declaring an emergency.
All right, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 99, 2022 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
I will second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Bellin? Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
I'm glad it's not just me. Right? Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
All right, the emergency clause passes 6-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 99, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I'll second. Yield.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to take the opportunity to thank Jennifer Penton for the work, and not just her, but her staff. They did an amazing job this year. They continue to do amazing work. Just thank you, sincerely.
Thank you, Mr. Bellin. Any other discussion? Not hearing none. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
All right, ordinance 99, 2022 passes as an emergency 6-0. Ordinance 102, 2022.
An ordinance confirming the mayor's appointment of Matthew J. Vizana as law director for the city of Twinsburg pursuant to the city charter and declaring an emergency.
All right, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 102, 2022 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
All right, the emergency clause passes 6-0. This time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 102, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I will second.
Idea.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Any discussion on this?
Mr. Barr, if I may.
Mayor, please.
I just want to say that, we've known Matt for just about a year now since he's been our law director, all of us, and I'm speaking for all of us. And now that being in the mayor's position, I get an opportunity to work with Matt on a day-to-day basis. And I couldn't be more proud than to appoint Matt Vazana back to this the position as our law director. And I'm assuming that council is going to agree and pass this 6-0. So thank you, Matt, for all you do. And thank you, council, for your consideration.
Thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion? All right. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Of course. Yes.
All right. Ordinance 102, 2022 passes an emergency 6-0. Moving right along, ordinance 103, 2022.
An ordinance confirming the mayor's appointment of Sarah Bucci-Gross as finance director for the city of Twinsburg pursuant to the city charter and declaring an emergency.
All right, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 103, 2022 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
All right, the emergency clause passes 6-0. This time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 103, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Any discussion on this? Mayor Scafidi.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Once again, I would like to echo my sentiments that I mentioned about Mr. Vazana. It's been a pleasure working with Sarah. We've been with Sarah a little bit longer than Mr. Vazana, and in my capacity as council, but now my capacity as mayor. Once again, she is just a great help and a great resource here in the city of Twinsburg, and I think that she's keeping our finances in check. So thank you, Sarah, for all you do. I appreciate you, and council, once again, I appreciate your consideration to this appointment.
Thank you,
all.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
All right. Ordinance 103, 2022 passes as an emergency 6-0. Congratulations to both Mrs. Bucci-Gross and Mr. Vazana. It's a pleasure working with both of you. Ordinance 104, 2022.
An ordinance amending revolving petty cash funds for various departments and repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith and declaring an emergency.
All right, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 104, 2022 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Suspension of the three reading rule passes 6-0. This time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 104, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Any further discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Ordinance 104, 2022 passes as an emergency 6-0. Ordinance 105, 2022.
An ordinance establishing salaries, wages, and employment descriptions for certain employees of the city and updating classifications of employees to be known as the salary ordinance and declaring an emergency.
All right, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 105, 2022 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Suspension of the three reading rule passes 6-0. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 105, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Any additional discussion on the salary ordinance? All right. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
All right, ordinance 105, 2022 passes as an emergency 6-0. This time, we're going to move on to resolution 106, 2022.
A resolution appointing resident to be named to the Twinsburg City Council to fill the vacancy in the Ward 1 City Council seat and declaring an emergency.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place resolution
It's a
106.
resolution, there's no, just read it, it's good. You don't have to suspend the rules on a resolution.
Oh, we're not doing it as an emergency?
It doesn't matter, you don't suspend the rules on an emergency, it's written in there.
All right.
I think Mr. Rosanna has a different opinion of that.
So in a resolution, we typically, when we have emergency resolutions, we do not put a third and final reading because it's only read once.
No, I do understand that. On this case, I am advising that we read it as an ordinance to cover our bases. Or not as an ordinance, as a resolution. Technically speaking, the title, resolution or ordinance, isn't actually all that important. It's the subject matter that the council is handling. So here, when I met with the clerk of council, I explained that I believe it should be a resolution, but the character of the action is such that I believe we should move forward with putting it in as an emergency action and suspending the 3 rules. So,
We'll get there.
but you will still have your opportunity to amend
Perfect.
I understand that.
the same process that you would normally use.
This is the first time we've done this way that I'm aware of. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the clarification. So now, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place resolution 106, 2022 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Shannon, please call the rule on the emergency.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
All right, so suspension of the 3 reading rule passes 6-0. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 106, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I'll second. I'll yield, I don't care.
Mrs. Walker seconds. All right, this,
Do you
Discussion.
need to amend it prior to?
I was going to make a motion
Thank you,
to
sir.
amend
I'm sorry.
resolution 106, 2022 and add the name of Jeffrey A. Deeds as the resident being appointed. May I have a second?
I will second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Any discussion on the amendment? All right, hearing none. Shannon, would you please call the roll on the amendment?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
So resolution 106, 2022 has now been amended by a vote of 6-0. Is there any further discussion on resolution 106, 2022 as it has been amended? All right, hearing none, I would now like to call the roll on the amended resolution, including the name of Mr. Jeffrey A. Deeds. Shannon?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
So resolution 106, 2022 passes as amended as an emergency, 6-0. Congratulations, Mr. Deeds. Moving along. Unfinished business, new business, and miscellaneous. Mr. Bellin, anything this evening?
Just a couple quick things. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Deeds. I look forward to working with you. I would like to echo Mr. Barr's sentiment earlier in the meeting. We are incredibly lucky to have the caliber of people come out for these appointments or boards or those kind of things. It makes it a remarkably difficult decision when it is placed in council's hands. And so I would just like to thank everybody who came out last night and showed interest. We are very lucky to have the slate of people in front of us that we did. And other than that, I would just like to wish everybody a happy and healthy and safe holiday season, regardless of what you celebrate, and we'll see you in 2023. Nothing further.
Thank you, Mr. Bellin. Mrs. Walker, I'm looking over there. Mrs. Walker,
okay,
good
over
evening. Any new business this evening, unfinished business?
The only thing, I just want to congratulate Mr. Deeds. Congratulations. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Mr. Fury, anything this evening?
I do not have anything that has not already been said, and thank you very much.
Mr. Post?
A couple of things. I want to thank all of the council members who participated in the ugly sweater movement here, and I just want to say that I think I won.
Can you stand, please?
I mean, I've got lights and everything, so thank you for all playing along. But
Do we have to make a motion?
but I think I got this. You have a hat, but it's a sweater contest. And
David, I think you're
thank you,
ugly in a
Mr.
lot
Pierce,
of
for
ways.
participating out there. Also, your kitty cat on your shirt is nice, but I still think I won. So I'm just going to declare myself the winner of the Christmas sweater.
All right.
I also want to say that on December 21st, or want to remind everybody, Wednesday, December 21st is the Hanukkah party here, Light the Night, on Wednesday, the 21st at the Community Center from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And I also want to wish everybody happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. And congratulations, Mr. Deeds. And that is my report.
Thank you, Mr. Post.
Thank you.
Mrs. Laddie?
I would like to congratulate Shannon. I know she doesn't ever like to be the center of attention, and she took some tough press this year, but you know what? The notion of anyone thinking your work is less than exemplary is ludicrous. So congratulations to you. Thankfully, you got the recognition that you truly deserve. So, good luck to Mr. Deeds. Welcome, Mr. Deeds. Looking forward to working with you as well. And enjoy the holidays with your families, and we'll be back in the coming year to be on with business. So, do it all again.
Thank you, Mrs. Laddie. Mayor, anything to add this evening?
Yeah, real quick, I just want to congratulate Mr. Deeds on his appointment to council. I look forward to working with you and the rest of council, and I think 2023 is going to be a good year for all of us, and we're going to accomplish a lot, so welcome aboard. Look forward to working with you. And just a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody, no matter what you celebrate, and Happy New Year, blessed New Year, and we will see everybody in the next year, 2023. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Mr. Vazana, anything this evening?
Yes, thank you. First off, I'd like to wish council happy holidays. Second, congratulations, Mr. Deeds. I look forward to working with you. Indeed, you'll probably get a notice from me. You'll have a little orientation where I'll sit down with you and we'll go over the basics. So get excited for that. Yeah, I say that sarcastic. Thank you for getting that joke. And then finally, I would say congratulations to Shannon on the collection of awards or recognition that she has amassed in the last 7 days. It's, from my experience so far, it's well deserved, and that's a nice treat to take into the holidays. So congratulations again.
All right. Mrs. Butchie-Grass, anything?
Yeah, congratulations to Mr. Deeds. I look forward to giving you the Government Finance 101 after Matt's done with you on Monday. It'll be a good time. Karen and Daisy sat through it, so, and I think David too. Yeah. And thank you to council for the reappointment. Really appreciate it. Love working here. And congratulations to Shannon. So well deserved for the Citizen of the Year, but also she does so much for the employees here inside the city too. So we appreciate all she does for us. And happy holidays. We'll see you in 2023.
Thank you. Shannon, anything you'd like to add this evening?
Yes, tonight I do. So I wanted to say thank you to the chamber, to council. The township also recognized, along with the congressman's office, Citizen of the Year is like it's a new thing that the chamber started doing, and it's kind of hard to follow our assistant chief Steve Basso because he does so much, but he is kind of like an older brother to me, and I was glad that he was able to be the one to read my award at the chamber lunch. So I just want to say thank you to all of them. I do want to give a shout out. I know Chief and a couple of council members already did, but fire department does an amazing job. The Santa Run is one of my most favorite things of the whole year that I participate in. It's a lot of work, a lot of logistics, but all the FD personnel over there, they take the calls, they deal with people coming up. Again, huge shout out to Shelly and Tracy. They are instrumental in making it happen. Steve and the routing and everything, but also to all the Rotarians that helped. Mr. Beers was there with us that day. He got to see firsthand kind of how it works. And all the elves, Jackson in the back, you're the best elf. Well, I guess I said it publicly, so I guess I was gonna say don't tell the other elves, but thank you for being part of it. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone, and one other thing with the Santa Run, the food drive is something new that we instituted during the COVID year, with turning it into a give back. And the food we've been able to collect has been amazing. I know the Hunger Center is truly appreciative of that, so thank you to all the residents too. That's it.
Wonderful, thank you, Ms. Collins. I do have a couple of just quick housekeeping items before we adjourn this evening. At this time, I do have a motion I'd like to make to ask council to approve the 2023 bid list.
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. As far as the bid list, this is for City of Twinsburg projects over $50,000. We have several on the bid list for 23. Several infrastructure projects, including the Ravenna Road sanitary line from 91 to 82, Canyon Road resurfacing, 2023 road striping program, 2023 road program with sidewalks. That's including some pool concrete, safety town asphalt, things of that nature. ODNR at Glen Chamberlain Park for playground, restrooms, and culvert work. The East Idlewind pedestrian bridge replacement, Glenwood Drive water line, looking for OPWC funds on that one in 24. For the golf course, a mower. Fitness center will be an auditorium, scoreboard, wastewater is a sludge hauling truck. Sounds awesome. And the fire department, a new vehicle, a new Chief 1 vehicle, and a ladder lease. So that is the 2023 bid list. Is there any other discussion on the 2023 bid list? All right, hearing none. Shannon, would you call the roll on the motion on the floor?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
All right, so the 2023 bid list for the City of Twinsburg is approved 6-0. In closing, happy holidays to everybody. It's a privilege to serve up here as a City Council representative. We got a great group of folks, not only up here, but in the city. I can't say enough things about our employees. They continue to amaze me. It's a privilege to live here and a privilege to serve the community. And just happy holidays and happy New Year. We have no absent members this evening. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to...
Can you read the boards and commissions that will be with them, please?
Oh, I can do that.
Thank you.
The list of all the council and committee appointments?
No, the openings for the boards and commissions.
Oh, that's right, that thing you gave me that you asked me to read. All right. Okay, see, if it weren't for Shannon, the wheels would come off of this place. So the City of Twinsburg is going to be accepting applications for appointment to open boards and commissions. All the applications must be received by Thursday, February 16th, 2023 by 4:30 p.m. in order to be considered. You can visit mytwinsburg.com to review all openings and complete the application. If you have any questions, you can contact the Clerk of Council, Shannon Collins. She's available at scollins@twinsburg.oh.us. We do have some openings specifically with the Architectural Review Board. There are 3 openings for that. We have Board of Zoning Appeals representatives from Wards 2 and Wards 3. The Capital Improvement Board is a great committee, and we're looking for all wards for that as well. This year we'll be doing our Charter Review Commission. There'll be 9 positions open for that. The Environmental Commission has 4 openings also for 23. And Parks and Rec is going to be looking for a Ward 1, Ward 2, and at-large representative, resident representative to fill in that board. So again, any questions, please reach out to Shannon. It's scollins@twinsburg.oh.us. And again, the deadline for applications is Thursday, February 16th, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. Thank you, Mrs. Collins, for reminding me. I appreciate it. With that, I would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:31 p.m. May I have a second?
A second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Any discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
The motion passes 6-0, and the meeting is now adjourned. Happy holidays.